Hi everyone. Welcome to another Q&A Alive with Alice. I'm going to turn on my lights. Should have already done that. So today we are going to talk about a fun little topic and I think you guys may be interested. Why it's so hard to find a job these days. And it's really important to think about that because I want to give you today some statistics. So in this episode, we're going to talk about why job hunting feels like a full time job in itself and why it's so challenging in today's world. We're going to break it down. Before I continue, make sure to subscribe so you get the weekly updates to the Q&A live with Alice. It's important because you'll get notification and every week I cover personal and professional skill building, focusing on communications because this is a communications focused channel for those of you that are new today. Did you know that 72% of job seekers say the process is more stressful than buying a house? Like the actual process of looking for a job is more stressful than buying a house. And yet the average person will change jobs 12 times in their lifetime. Like, who would have known? It's kind of crazy. Hi, Jake. How are you? So, if you just think back a decade of 3 decades ago, actually, even 2 decades, on average, people change jobs maybe like 2, 3 times a year. And if you look back maybe 40 years, 30 to 40 years, they stayed in the company for a lifetime. People like baby boomers who were at IBM are now enjoying their pension. They stayed in the company for 60 years, for 50 years. Today, we change on average 12 times our job, and that is absolutely insane. Also, another statistic to keep in mind is that employers 80% of your employers will look at your social media account, and 56 of them will make a decision based on your social media profile. This is according to Forbes and Glassdoor, and it's not even the resume that they look at, which on average they take about 6 seconds to look over. So let's break it down why today's job environment is challenging. And what's also important is I'm going to I'm going to share some strategies and hacks on how you can better prepare for the changing job market because the changes are going to persist, especially with automation. Some of you are concerned about AI and ChatGPT and job security in a recession. And I'm going to share with you some strategies that are recession proof, something I've proven myself, and it will give you a better perspective. So the whole goal for this talk today is just to give you an idea of what the job market looks like, how you could better prepare yourself, and how to build additional skills, which we will cover next week. So we'll go a lot over skill building. I actually had a conversation with a girl this afternoon talking about her skills and how she can uh, demonstrate her value proposition. So I hope you guys are hearing me okay. I actually don't have my mic plugged in. This is a mic that I'm using, Rode. It's pretty nice. I don't have the adapter to plug it into my laptop so you can hear me. I hope that you could still hear me. And let's continue. Cool. Audio sounds good. Thanks for that, Jake. Okay, so the first challenge with the current job market is that it is oversaturated. Now, does anybody know what oversaturation means? We can, hi, Chrissy. So, when something is oversaturated, it means that there's too much supply and not enough demand. So, for every corporate job opening, 250 resumes are submitted on average, but only 2% of applicants are called for interview. This is coming from Glassdoor. So think about the 250 resumes that on average for one corporate job is submitted and 2% are called are called for interviews, and this is in the US market. Now, if you go to markets like New York, those can be 1,000 job applicants per job per post. So if you think about also which industry, you go even more, the numbers continue to rise. So for a writing position, remote in New York, it's about 2,000 applicants, and then you add the remote option, and you can get as high as like 3 or 4,000. I've seen. So it really depends on the industry that you're in. That's insane. Think of all the competition. Now, the growing competition is due to several factors. One, the economic climate in the United States, and I'm mainly talking about the United States, and Europe follows usually what's going on in the US. And the distinction between the US job market and European, they're more safety mechanism in Europe. You have more emphasis on public wealth, public social systems, whereas in the United States, it's in the best interest to serve the companies. So there's more private wealth and private interests of corporations. So the growing competition is due to post-pandemic remote work opportunities that are opening globally. There's an economic second aspect. There's an economic uncertainty leading to fewer roles but more applicants. And if you think about recession or hiring freezes, when you have a hiring freeze, it could be cyclical or just, like a quarter or two, typically how long it lasts, let's say 6 months, or it could be indefinite. My friend works at a bank in the United States, and the hiring freeze for all applicants has been in effect for about a year. Now, when that has been lifted, they changed the requirements that the hiring freeze was only for US employees. So if you're international, you have a chance to apply, but they don't say that on job postings. They don't say only Americans or US citizens should apply or international. So we have to look at what are the hiring freezes? What do they look like? Is it does it affect U.S. citizens or internationals, or I would say foreign nationals in this case? So it's really interesting to understand that. The other, so in addition to an oversaturated market, there is an issue of a lengthy hiring process. On average, this is coming from LinkedIn. On average, it takes 36 days to fill a position from the minute that you apply, that you interview, and you receive an offer, and then you start working. A decade ago, it was only 22 days. So think about if it takes 5 months on average to get a job, and 36 days of which just to go through the hiring process, like, it's daunting. Now, on average, is 5 months, but I know friends in New York City that have been looking for a job for about a year. So even a year and a half, and that hasn't showed any change. The reason why the process is long is because companies run multiple rounds of interviews and rely on extensive background checks. They also hire external agencies to help with the recruitment process. And extensive background checks could include criminal checks. It could include the companies that you work for. It's a whole list of things. And the third aspect here that we can kind of understand the job market is there's this thing called ATS, Applicant Tracking Systems. Does anybody know what that is? Jake, I'm curious. Do you know what ATS is? Because I know you were in the process of looking for a job. I'll give you a few minutes. Ask ChatGPT. Okay, so ATS is Applicant Tracking Systems, and it's a software program that filters resume. What the ATS system looks for is keywords. So if the company has specific keywords that are associated with the job description, you have to have above, I believe, 80% of a match. And I'm not sure if it's 86 or 90 something, but it's above 80. So you need to match your resume, what you write, those words need to be in 80 in the top 80% percentile. In order for it to pass through the system, 75% of the resumes are rejected by ATS software before a human sees it. And when a human sees it, they look at it on average 6%. So let that sink in. You know how you spend months reviewing resumes, and I've helped clients with their resumes. I know a software that lets you check the resume for free and see how much of the keywords add up. So message me or send me an email at um, getbymakeitwithalice@gmail.com so I can go ahead and send you more information. And you could even email me your resume. I'll take a look at it. Resumes not tailored to the specific keywords often fail to make it through. And it's important because when I was applying for jobs at a grad school, I applied to like 200 something jobs. And I only found out about ATS while I was researching for a job. And what's crazy is that in grad school, they didn't even prepare me for training on ATS. Like I went to a technical school called Carnegie Mellon. It's in the top 20. It's an Ivy League. Well, it's not an Ivy League school, but basically it's almost like an Ivy League school. And it has a reputation. This is where Gmail was invented at Carnegie Mellon, and Uber research team is out of Carnegie Mellon. So Carnegie Mellon is like the Stanford of robotics. So it's pretty interesting. I've never heard of Bitcoin or ATS until I started looking for jobs, which is insane to me because we go to school to learn skills and we don't even get prepared on how to apply for a job. The other thing to look at is that there's a lack of preparation resources. As I've mentioned, many applicants aren't aware of free tools like Grammarly for writing resumes or LinkedIn Learning for upskilling. They're not aware of ATS. There's software that can check your resume to see how ready you are for ATS. And also, how do you communicate soft and transferable skills? So on the resume, we typically write hard skills. We have data analytics skills. We have team building skills. But we don't talk about the soft skills like good communication skills or able to think quickly in stressful situations, like different soft skills that are not quantifiable or that are not the hard skills of actual like technology skills and project management skills. These are hard skills. The other thing too is that in the resume, which is why I hate them. And by the way, when I was hiring, I never looked at the resume. I first interviewed the person, then looked at the resume because I didn't want to deal with any bias. And I know that most of the time, most people lie on their resume or they just don't know how to write one. The other thing too is important to show impression of increase or show a resume that's results oriented. We always focus on what we did, but we didn't focus on the results. So in a resume, you want to at least communicate somehow visually or verbally the results. So I grew sales by 6% and therefore affecting KPIs by Y or X%. When I hired 6 team members, I was able to bring the store from 44th position to 4th position corporate wide in just under 2 months. So we're not like, think of the resume as an opportunity to practice your business skills, business English skills, business communication skills. Because when you're applying for a job in your 20s, it's all about showcasing your skills. But when you're in your 30s and 40s, most employers want to know your access to your networks. And I've actually been hired in my 30s because of my brand that I built online and because of my network. So when you build a brand, they're looking at you as what clients, the employer wants to know what clients can she access, what's her influence. And why it's important to have social media following is because they want to evaluate how strong is your online presence, how strong is your network. And nowadays, people are hiring based on your influence, and that influence is readily available on social media. Before I continue, I have a question here. School barely equips us with any useful skills in finance. Oh, forget it. I hire an accountant. I have a bookkeeper. I haven't even used Excel spreadsheets in like 15 years. I honestly don't even know how to use Excel. That's why I have my assistant helping me because I wouldn't even be able to tell you how to use an Excel spreadsheet. Where's the best places to look for a job right now? Good question. So how do I answer this question? Before you look for a job, you need to think about how to hack the system and how to reverse engineer your goal. So, what reverse engineering is, instead of looking for a job, figuring out where are the people looking for a job? Where are the employers located? Where are they looking? So, for writing and journalism, I found jobs on Upwork and Twitter because a lot of people on Twitter post, "Hey, I'm looking for a writer." And that was like 2 years ago. Now I go to marketplaces. I hate job recruitment sites because, again, that is a way for them to get your email address and gather data on you. And they put that information to companies. Another thing is recruitment sites don't prepare. There's so many people applying for jobs. And again, it comes back to ATS. Most companies use ATS. So if I'm applying on company website or job recruitment sites, unless I'm in the 80 percentile or 90 percentile with ATS, like I'm not getting a job. So reverse engineering is figuring out where the employers are. Second, building a relationship with the company team members, maybe the CEO or maybe the recruiter. Instead of looking for the job, show that you're interested in what the company does, build rapport, like be on their radar, because this comes back to my next point is 86% of the jobs filled are because of as a result of networking opportunities. And actually, if I didn't get most of my jobs on Outwork, I would say about 80% of the jobs I got were not from applying. I don't think I've ever got a job for applying. I applied for IBM Consulting after Carnegie Mellon, didn't get it. I had a contact there, but it was a cold contact. Most of my jobs that I got was based on the brand that I built. So there was an online presence that I had and networking, like people who saw my work and recommended a job. I recently, actually, just to practice my interview skills, I applied to Crypto Radio in Dubai. A friend of mine gave me the job listing. It was for a host and producer position. And I said, it's been a while since I interviewed. So I went, I got my suit, I had the lights, and I interviewed. I was a little rusty because it's been a few years. And if you don't, here's a trick. If you can't answer a question, just say, I'll get back to you on that. Because there were two questions. And then you write a follow up email. Another trick is when you're writing your follow up email, summarize what you've learned in the interview and ask questions because it shows another layer of engagement. So, to answer your question, how do you find a job? Ask your friends, go on Upwork or LinkedIn, and build relationships with employers and recruiters. I hope that works for you. Is it true most job postings online are mostly pointless and go nowhere? Is it true it's better in person to find a job? Uh well, when you network, you're in person or online, you network, like I'm networking with you guys or on Zoom. So you want to go both online and offline. Um, it's again, think about it, 85% of jobs filled is through networking. So for those of us who are introverts, can be tough. But again, pick and choose the events that you want to go to. And if you don't really have much to say and you feel like you don't have the skills, just ask questions. Questions drive the cognition. For those of us that are extroverts, great, we can talk. But same thing, ask questions. You could ask 20 questions. I like to ask a lot of questions, or you can ask like three and make them important. So it doesn't matter how many questions as long as that, they're value add. Um, Jake asks, if I apply to grad school again, I've been to grad school, I get it. Oh, grad school. If I apply to grad school again, I've thought about picking a few professors, programs in advance, and using a reverse engineering method like that. Reverse engineering always works. My brother's an engineer, he always talks about it. Um, Again, before you apply to a job, write down what you value, write down what your non-negotiables are, write down questions. Like I asked like 20 questions to Crypto Radio during the interview and a follow-up. Like I'm not just going to rush to get a job because again, like I don't want to set up and fail. Like what if my skills don't align? What if my personality doesn't align? What if I'm not giving the resources that I need to succeed? Like it's tough already to get a job, but it's even tougher if you join the wrong team. So you want to make sure to just really understand what you're signing up for. It's like signing up for a marriage or a business and you have no idea who the person is. You don't want a nasty divorce. And you don't want to start a job and then leave it in 3 months. I've been fired 3 times and I've also left a job after 3 months because it's misalignment of expectations and boss was terrible, the team member or I got fired or I got set up. It's just you don't want that stress. It's really about taking your time. And if you don't have time and you need money right away, again, Upwork, and you could email me or message me privately and I could help you get set up as well. I do career coaching as well as job hunting and preparing your resume. And I also have friends in the industry who are recruiters, especially in the tech space. So they'll be able to give you more information. Keep in mind that just because the jobs are open doesn't mean the companies will fill them. Companies get money for creating jobs, but they're not necessarily filling the positions. So just an FYI. I'll go over a couple more questions and then I'll continue. Um, Edward, hello. I am a bit late. How are you? Hey, Edward and Jake, both of you are on every week, almost every week. I appreciate you. I'm going to give you a hug. Oh, and all of you who are joining today, I'm going to give you a hug too. I really appreciate you. I think we need to celebrate just being here and being able to ask questions, being able to share, because it's tough out there. It's tough. Like, I have to thank Jake because I was very unmotivated today and I was just having a tough time. I wasn't going to do a live, and Jake, Mr. Herps and Fine, asked me about the live, and my roommate girl I'm coaching, her name is Cristina. She said, you need to go and do a live. So I just want to acknowledge that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm doing great. And that's how I feel. I wanted to quit. Even I want to quit sometimes. And it's hard, you lose motivation when you put in so much work and you apply for so many jobs and you're building something and then you don't get the results. There is a thing called patience and perseverance, but how much perseverance? Like how much more will you continue? Like it's hard. Code Clown, I'm learning cybersecurity, but I'm scared of AI. We should definitely have a conversation. I love cybersecurity. I'm also terrified of AI, not gonna lie. Maybe I should do another live on AI. I have a playlist talking about future job trends. So AI is a big part of it. If you haven't checked out my playlist, access to future trends, future jobs, I forgot. Edward, interesting live. I'm thinking about changing my job. Before you change your job, I did this. Write down what you like and what you don't like. And if your list of what you don't like is longer than what you like, you can think about changing your job. Think about what is your contingency plan. This is a big one. What is your backup plan? Now, I've been in positions where I didn't have a backup plan and just a little bit of savings, like 5K. I jumped ship. And because I had limited resources, I was hustling and figuring out my next job move. I also was in positions where I had a job and I was building something on the side. So it really depends on your personality. If you operate well under stress and limit and resource constraints like me, great. If you need a little bit of a cushion and some stability and you want to dabble on the side, great. Also, just make sure you know who you are as a person and what your skill sets and what your resources are before you change a job. I hope that was gives you a little bit more context about changing jobs. Herbs and fine. This is why I, Jake. This is why I quit grad school the first time. The program and professor weren't what I was hoping for. Ditto. Um, for me, I got a scholarship to go to college, and I got a scholarship, half scholarship to go to a master's program. So for me, I got a full tuition for college and half tuition for master's. And this is why it was a little bit easier to stay, but I always wanted to quit. College more so than grad school because grad school was a little bit more interesting and I was more mature and able to retain the information. Jake, you said next time I'm taking a different approach and more intentional, informed approach. Absolutely. GH, would it be wise to dress a bit proactively in hopes of getting hired? If you go use it type of attitude, or is that bad idea? Do you mean, can you clarify a bit more proactively? What do you mean by dressing up proactively? Edward, yeah, it's super great to be here. I love it. Thank you for the lives. You're welcome. GH, when you clarify what that mean, your question, I can answer that, but let me continue here. So where were we? We were talking about, okay, we left at lack of preparation and resources. So we're talking about why it's so difficult, just to recap, why it's so difficult to get a job. Summary here, oversaturated market, lengthy hiring process, ATS, applicant tracking systems, a bitch, lack of preparation resources. Now we're going to talk about psychological toll. So 69% of job seekers report feeling anxious about the job search process. Absolutely. And for those of you who hate rejection, you're just absolutely like checked out when you get rejected. And this is a statistics out of Job Fight. Emotional challenges, like I said, multiple rejections and burnout from applying for jobs, balancing applications with life responsibilities. Absolutely. So think of it this way. You're spending, you know that on average it takes 5 months to get a job. I'm going to play devil's advocate here. What if you didn't apply for a job and instead you built your brand? What if you brought value? If you're applying for a project manager position, what if you started talking about project management on YouTube? What if you started educating people on the skills that you have that the employers are looking for? There's a thing in writing called show, not tell. You're showing what you're capable of rather than telling. I know that when I showed my skills and by building a brand, I was hired because of the brand I built. I was, or if I had a connection. So, and the connections are hard, right? Like especially if you take a few years off or you leave the industry and you change industries, let's say you start a family, like how do you maintain those connections? It could be definitely hard. Just saying, why not entertain teaching the skills that you already have? Just think about it. So there's an impact of social media on the hiring decisions, and I want to talk about that. So anywhere from 70 to 80% of employers use social media to screen candidates during the hiring process. This is statistics according to Career Builder. It's important to really think about that. So if your social media presence on LinkedIn is very professional, but on Instagram it's more personal, there could be a mismatch in the messaging that you're talking, that you're the messaging that you're exemplifying. Um, it could be inconsistent. Like employers are confused what you're doing. So it's really important to like think about that. And it sucks because what if on Instagram you want to post family photos and birthday parties, and on LinkedIn you talk about being the leader of, whatever. Um, and you have thought leadership articles. I used to write for CEOs articles on LinkedIn, and sometimes, they had crazy images on Instagram on their profile or TikTok, and then I ask like, what's the message that you're trying to convey? So I have a Instagram page where I talk about travel and writing, and that's just my personal page. It's still professional. So no booty shots and bikinis, no information about my romantic life or who I'm dating, not a lot of information on my family unless I'm doing a fun activity with my family. No political views, no religious views. On YouTube, same thing. I keep it professional. I do share information about my personal life a little bit more now because I'm not really applying for a job but I will entertain a job interview. But yeah, it's a balance. I mean, I'm not saying you can't share personal information, but it depends on your strategy. Like if I was applying for the US government jobs or intelligence agencies or defense contractors, I would be a little bit more reluctant. But if I'm applying for the hospitality and travel industry, people are going to check out my pretty pictures from Spain on Instagram. So it really depends where you're at. Is it important to build something outside of work? Yes. My brother I don't believe in job security, in a US corporate job security. Now, my brother has a really nice cushion job. Even my boyfriend has a nice cushy job. They both have, they're contractors, so they have like a government contract jobs. And I always say, yeah, but if there's it's still a corporation. If there's a restructuring, doesn't matter if you're good, unless you build relationships or you have connections. How can you keep your job? Like my brother is building his side business, buying car parts for a low price and selling them higher on eBay. And he's been doing this for 5 years now. He's formalizing it into a business. He's going to run his basement as an Airbnb. He has 3 streams of income. He's about to have his third stream of income. His wife is has 2 streams of income. Like they don't have to have 5 streams, but they're preparing themselves. It's really important to put in your mind that just because you get a job doesn't mean that it's security. It's not. Not anymore. I really don't believe it. I just see too many changes. Uh, so always be uncomfortable. Like know that you are replaceable. But your knowledge isn't. So teach. Jake, social media provides an opportunity for people to showcase their knowledge and skills and build a network. I've thought a lot about this. Yes. And also understand that with social media, it could be addicting. It could totally replace the physical world. So you want to balance your physical world and offline presence with your online presence. So I still have calls, I still have in-person meetings, I still socialize. Because it's easy to just stay online, it's easier. But there's a checks and balance. We are human. We need human connection, and one of the best ways to get human connection is in person. It's validating and inspiring to hear about your experience doing this. Yeah, I've applied probably to 400 jobs. I said 200 on the description here, but it's been more. I stopped counting after like 200. I was done with it. A lot of the times I created my own job opportunities, pitching myself like, hey, you don't have any women on your team. Can I be the first woman? I used my gender. It's completely fine, but I also had skills. Other times I said, hey, it sounds like you need this type of person on your team. Can I be that? And I created a job position for me. It's okay that if you're applying for a job that doesn't entirely meet your qualifications, you could pitch your interviewer and say, I don't quite meet the skill set, but can I create this job position for myself. It's worked for me. um, so let's continue. So social media. Like I said, recruiters spend 6 seconds on average scanning a LinkedIn profile before making a decision. 6 seconds. I don't have anything else to say about that. Showcasing expertise through platforms like LinkedIn articles or GitHub for tech roles is valuable. So there's always that social media uh, presence. Yeah, I mean, 6 seconds. Think about it when you look at a woman walking in a dress. It's probably also 6 seconds, maybe three. Um, 6 seconds. They used to tell me in school it's 1 minute. No, it's 6 seconds. Um, Negative impacts. 54% of employers have disqualified candidates based on social media profiles, inappropriate photos or language, polarizing political or controversial posts. Think about it. You have a presence online and you share it. Noam Chomsky said social media, how did he say it? It was, you are more of who, on social media, you are more of you. So what you are, you're more of on social media, roughly summarizing here. So if you talk about certain opinions and a recruiter or employer doesn't like it, they're not even going to give you a chance. So think about it. Like, have you ever wondered why you're not getting a job? It's maybe because of the picture that you posted. How vain and stupid is that? Um, like I said before, keep your profiles professional, share industry relevant content, and use consistent branding across the platform. To minimize your risk, these are the 3 tips. Keep your profiles professional, share industry related content, and use consistent branding. Let that sink in. For the next 20 minutes or so, I'm going to talk about additional tips that you can use to overcome your job search challenges. So, if you know that ATS disqualifies your resume, make sure to use software that lets you analyze the resume and know also and work with somebody that could review your resume and that can go over the keywords with you, or there's free software out there. You could send me a message. Also, customization is key. 25% of customized resumes are more likely to get an interview callback. This is coming from Top Resume. Network strategically. Again, if you're extrovert, introvert, like have your like wish list or bucket list. You can attend webinars, LinkedIn groups, industry events, meetup, Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups. Like keep it strategic, and depending on your energy levels, you're more likely to get a job networking than you are applying for jobs blindsidedly. 85% of jobs, again, as I mentioned before, is filled through networking. This is a source that's coming from LinkedIn. Hi, Adi. Hello, my dear. How are you? Great. Please like, share, and subscribe, everyone. Thank you. 6 seconds. This is crazy. Jake, I've never heard that quote. It makes sense. People hide less words on social media. Yes. Noam Chomsky, linguist. He's famous. I think he's out of MIT. He's not a fan of social media. Definitely not. Upskill, constantly learn new skills. So when AI came out, I became an AI prompt engineer. I sold my services on Upwork. In addition to being a writer, I'm an AI prompt engineer. Let me know if you need help with prompts and what to ask ChatGPT. I also have a playlist about it. There's free resources like Coursera, LinkedIn Learning, or Khan Academy to learn new skills. There's YouTube. YouTube is the number one streaming platform and the number one online university. Or ask YouTubers for help. Self-promotion. It's okay to self-promote and be, Ask. No shame in that. Um, do it authentically, of course. I will never sell you a course that says, take my course for $10,000 and land a job in 22 days. No, I'm not going to pull that marketing scheme on you. Focus on growing fields like data analytics, UX, UI design, and AI. Of course, those are hard skills. Also focus on your communication skills, because if you have these hard skills like data analytics, UX, UI design, and AI, but you're not able to communicate your skills or value proposition or unique selling point, USP, I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Your hard skills are only going to get you so far. They may get you to the door, they may not necessarily get you through the door. Audit your digital footprint. Google yourself. I Googled myself, and I do this every 6 months. You could remove or privatize any unflattering content. I've never had to do that, thank God. Um, also, if you have businesses, you can do a Google listing. So there's all kinds of things you can do. Create a cohesive professional online presence. That's important. Always audit, 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 self-assess, self-assess, audit, audit, self-assess, self-assess, self-assess. Stay resilient, practicing self-care during search. It's a marathon, not a sprint. That's important, okay? Let me get back to some of these questions. Adi, tell us about the dark side of social media society. Social media is not a society. Like, what should be the future of this year perspective? Okay, well, social media, look at China. Look at what China's doing. Social media is integrated into day-to-day life. It is an e-commerce platform. Social media is e-commerce, it's banking, it's mental health, wellness, it's shopping, it's education. So we are headed, it's going to be extremely augmented. There's going to be AR and VR components. Um, we're going to, it's going to evolve into more AR and VR features for sure. There's going to be a lot more data collection, a lot more spying. Right now, Facebook Meta reached out to my personal business page, which is Books by Alice, and they're like, you are suspected of copyright content. We're going to shut your account in 72 hours. Thanks, Facebook. What exactly copyright content? So there's going to be a lot more controls. It's important to diversify, not just stay on one platform. It's important. I'm probably going to start asking for your email just in case I lose you or I lose YouTube. So I have a newsletter and I talk about mainly writing, but I may actually start another newsletter on Substack for this channel just so I don't like lose you guys in case YouTube shuts down, because how else am I going to reach you? That's probably something I'm going to implement in the next few months. But I would say, like right now, TikTok, for US, it's supposed to shut down. There was that announcement on the 17th. Now they're saying it's just going to be a blackout. It's just a moment, a period before of no use before Trump negotiates a deal with China. And I'm not going to try to make a political discussion here in case employers are watching. But I think that we need to have some sort of safety mechanisms. One of the things on TikTok is that the company allowed people to showcase their suicide. So young teenagers were killing themselves and videotaping it. And these videos went viral on TikTok. And I think that's like we're having a social crisis. We're going to have more exposure to mental health topics. I think people are going to share more about their personal information, like emotional health. And we're going to have more polarizations, more identities. I think people are going to be more confused. And I think that social media will be your next employer. I think that when it's going to be harder to find a job, people will be at marketplaces. People will be on YouTube making money from brand deals and AdSense. So I think that the new employer of the future will be tech companies, if not government and tech. So social media is really going to be more integrated, just like the smartphone and the smartwatch. So, Edward, usually the hardest part is to get the interview. Yes. And if you have the interview, there's a second round and a third round and a fourth round. And my friend went through like 4 rounds and didn't even get an interview. I mean, didn't get an offer. So, Adi, what do you think about the future of social media effects on emotional health? Well, there's going to be more sharing about people's emotional health. I think it's going to lead to more addiction because social media is highly addictive, just like porn, just like sex, just like drugs. It's the same dopamine hit. I mean, I get excited when you guys comment, when I have a subscriber, when I get a like, and I have to really monitor my social media usage. There's been times where I wake up early in the morning and I cannot wait to get on my computer. And my boyfriend has to remind me, like, I want to cuddle and like have a coffee with you in the morning, but I want to go on YouTube. So it's like, okay, when I wake up in the morning, intimacy is important, meditation is important, enjoying the sunrise, and then I could start my day. And I think it's important to share these personal details because social media will affect our personal life and it already is. So remember that when you're with your loved ones and you're constantly with your device or you're on your phone and communicating with your partner, then you're having a relationship through a device, and that's kind of scary. Or you're having a relationship with the idea of the person, like the what you see on social media, the type of life you want, that's social media. You draw references of what type of life you want by going on social media, but that's not reality. So one thing that I'm grateful for when it comes to my roommate, my boyfriend, and my brother is that when we're together, like face to face, like there's no texting. So I'm grateful for that. And my brother and I have like a very strong policy that even my mom, like when we're hanging out, the TV's off, the phone can even be at the dinner table. Like I have a very strict policy, no electronics on the table. And if I have it accidentally on the table, I put it on the seat because it's just an energy thing. So I think that we need to police ourselves a little bit more, and there's going to definitely be more friction with social media. So we just have to be aware. What should be the discipline for having a healthy life with social media? So there's a thing on your phone, it tracks your screen time. Um, I would say that first it comes with acceptance. To change a habit, you have to accept. You have to accept that you're a social media addict. You have to accept that you're a tech addict. You have to accept that you have a relationship with your phone. Let's all accept we have relationships with our phone. I'm logged in because I'm also sometimes I don't read my messages here, so I'm able to like read them on my phone. Now I have two relationships with my phone, and I have a relationship with my laptop, and I have a relationship here with my lights. There's a light right here, and there's a mic that is not plugged in. And I'm connected. So to have a discipline is to go to nature. What I do is I try to take a walk. I'm not on my phone. When I have meals, I'm not on my phone. When I take walks by the sea or in the forest, I'm not on my phone. So accept that you're on your phone a lot and that you're an addict, a tech addict, but notice when your body's telling you not to be on the phone, probably when you're practicing yoga, because it's really hard to be on your phone when you're doing yoga. And carve out moments in your day when you're not on the phone and you're not on YouTube. And we all get really excited to come back on YouTube and check our phone because we feel so connected. But the real connection is the person that's standing on the bus that's smiling at you, or the baby that's smiling, and you're not even seeing them because you're on the phone. So if a baby and a woman on the bus is smiling at you and you're on your phone, put it away. So I remind myself Um, how much data do you consume on average daily basis except doing um I spend a few hours on social media every day. Maybe 2 a day, 3. Is that too much? I mean, if I'm a YouTuber, is that a lot? Hmm. I have to ask ChatGPT. Yoga helps me so much too. Those things help me reconnect with myself and others. Yes. 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 Um, so I would like to conclude today's discussion. So although the job market is tough, with the right strategies and right perspective and understanding, you can stand out and land that dream job. How do you stand out? In the meantime, as you build your resume, join communities, build those relationships with employers and team members of the company that you're applying for. Build your personal brand, which could be talking about a hobby or talking about your skill set, showing people what you can do. Learning on YouTube, interacting with YouTubers that are maybe interested in the same thing as you. You could ask them questions in the lives or comments. Some of you are already doing that. Join Facebook groups, join groups in your local church. You can also do that. I've had some great conversation in church groups. I had great conversations in like bingo. Does anybody ever play bingo or billiards, right? So find those opportunities to connect. In Valencia, I go to like educational activities and co-working spaces. I'm plugged into a literary club called Hemingway. I now found an editor who's also serves as an informal agent. She really helps me hone my writing. I have the community help me with my writing. One of them, Tom, he's in a film now. He's going to be in Cannes. He's also like recommended good equipment. Like work with your community to help you in the process. My friends in San Francisco, some of them were part of like job accountability groups where they helped each other with their resume. And the whole success of the 5-person group was for all of them to find a job within a year. So form groups, those are great. And most importantly, don't give up. And if you do give up, that's totally fine. Because if you give up and come up with some of the and do the things that I've mentioned, then technically you're looking for a job. You're just reverse engineering it, and you're getting creative on how to look for a job differently. One of the reasons I started this YouTube channel was because I lost 2 big clients on Upwork, which was netting me like $3,000 a month. And I was like, oh my God, I have 50 euros in my bank account. I actually had to have my friend hook me up with rent money. I stayed at her apartment for free. Then I had to spend this summer with a friend because I still had not recovered my income. And I stayed with her for 4 months, not paying rent. And then through another friend, I found this apartment, which is a nice 4-bedroom, and it's in the city, and it's low cost, and it's affordable. And my landlady, who's my landlord, I'm coaching her, and she's like my branding girl. So we're gonna have like a rebrand on this channel, and you just don't know what skills you're capable of and what resources you have, and maybe just talking about what job you want or what excites you to your neighbor or the bus driver. They might be your opportunity for getting that job. It's like weird how the universe works and God. Um, I love billiards. Yeah, I used to play and like shooting darts and stuff. And remember bowling when that was a thing? I was like doing bowling for a while. That was cool. Like, um, my favorite word, community. Yay! Hi, Stanley. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I just had to do that little cheer. Um, my favorite word, community, but you spelled it community. Adi, hello Stanley. Are you in New York City or LA? Well, I was born in Czech Republic. I grew up in New York City. I currently live in Spain, in Valencia, and I go to Cresco, PA a lot to visit my brother. She's in Valencia. Christy is, by the way, my roommate and landlady. So your friends also support you. Um, and it's important to have support. We talk about it. We actually just had a coaching session right before this call, which lasted for a few hours. And, we were talking about job opportunities and work opportunities. So if you have roommates, maybe talk to them about your job hunt. And most likely, whoever you talk to, they'll say, well, I have a friend who has a friend who's looking for what you want, Crystal clear, Christy is concealed carry leaf. Adi, you're funny. We got 4 more minutes. Anybody else got a question? Last question that I'll answer. Adi, please do live sessions during the day because in the day there are really interested people who want to learn from you and share their experiences with you. But at nighttime, there's only. Okay, Adi, you are in India. What time is it, India? I don't know, like 7 a.m. I don't know what time. I guess no, it's actually no. You're I think 4 or 5 hours. Christy, she's helping a lot. We're helping each other. That's the best. And she's saying support each other. Yes. Because even when I wanted to give up today and I said, I don't think I'm going to do live and I'm going to quit YouTube and go back to America and get my comfortable government job. And Christy was like, no, that's your ADHD brain. 11:30 p.m. The reason I chose 6 o'clock is because according to who watches my channel, most of my viewers are on around evening Spain time, which is like lunchtime in the US. So maybe I'll do another live. How about this? How about when I get 100 people watching my live, because now I have 9, if you could help me to get 100, I will do another live and I will do it at a different time. So I'll be doing 2 lives per week, but help me get 100 so I can set enough time to do live. Adi, it's nighttime. They're in Europe and evening in US. Absolutely. Oh, is it wise to dress sexy for interview? No. Because think about it. When you are, my nose is itchy. Does it happen to you when you're talking, like your nose starts to itch? Like, um, so think about it. If you're a woman being interviewed by a woman and you're dressing sexy, it's gonna she may be intimidated by you. And that could hurt your interview. And if it's a man and you're a woman who's being interviewed by a man, he may be distracted. So what you say out of your mouth is not going to register. And if you're a man interviewing with a woman, she may be distracted and the man may be intimidated by you. So it goes both ways. Unless your whole hiring strategy is to be a foot fetish model or a porn star and you're building a following on Instagram and you want to be sexy, and then when you interview you're already sexy on Instagram because you're an erotica performer or writer or model. So when you interview you're already sexy because that's your job online already. So just think about what industry you're in. I always go for classy and elegant. That's always the best thing to do is just keep it classy and elegant, keep it simple. Not too much makeup for girls. Have your hair tied back, kind of like today. I mean, you don't need a turtleneck, but just keep it simple. Alrighty. I'm applying to become a restaurant manager. Is it too late, 27? No. It's never too late to apply for any job that you want, and it's never too late to go to school. One of my best friends in grad school was a grandmother whose age was 56. She sat next to me. When we went around the class and we introduced ourselves, she's like, "Hi, my name is Yari, and I'm a grandmother. I have 3 kids and 3 grandchildren, and I'm really excited to be here because I would like to learn." And I became friends with her because I said, "She's a grandmother. She's a grandmother, and she's going into a master's program." So, thank you all for joining. I really appreciate you. Next week, we're going to talk about skill sets, how to identify what you're good at and what you're not good at. And what you're not good at, you delegate if you have your own company. This came at the request of Christy because I was explaining this to her today and she said you have to do a live. So that's my commitment to you, is to teach you on how to identify your skill sets and how to be honest with yourself, not too hard with yourself. And that's my commitment to you for next week. Adi, please also share your works in the community section. There'll be interested people to see that. Thank you. I will implement that first thing in the morning. I will go ahead and do that. Older people are fun to be around. I know. I know. My boyfriend's dad is a IBM network engineer who hasn't spoken English in like 20 years, and he nerds out about computers and he shows me all the gadgets from like the 70s and 80s and super excited about tech. I'm just sitting there like, huh, he's almost 80 and just loving it, you know? I mean, if we're not grumpy by 80, then, and he lost his wife a few months ago. They were married 60 years. So it gives me hope that anybody can learn at any age, anybody can recover from loss. And like I say on this channel, do the best that you can every day. Yay! Thanks for checking in. Thank you, Jake, Edward. Great. I want to be next week. Now, yes, please share the live. I'm going to try to post a day earlier so you could share. Let's get to 100 people on this live so I could do a second one for the week. And I appreciate all of you and see you soon. Bye, everyone.